Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are in the world, and welcome to another edition of the Living World of Darkness. This evening we have Juno sitting on the dumpster beside the bar that Ghost and Juno have been known to encounter one another, at least over the past few weeks they have. Currently, Juno sits with a cigarette between her lips, smoking, sighing, looking out at the traffic as it goes by, and waits. We start our scene here.
Um, Ghost is fairly prompt in her arrival to when she said she'd be there. She is driving a motorcycle as usual. You can hear the thrum of the engine. It's quite a distinctive sound. Um, she pulls the bike up to the curb outside the bar and lines it up against all the other bikes that are parked there at the current time. She takes her time getting off the bike and locking it up and making it look like she's not really in a rush to get over towards Juno, but she sort of is because she's bearing in mind that she hasn't got a lot of time before she has to meet the other Bruiser. And she doesn't really want to get her cover blown by people wondering where she is and why she's meeting up with Juno again. So,
Juno hops off of the dumpster once she sees Ghost pull up and just walks over to the corner of the building and leans against it, crossing her arms over her chest and just looking at Ghost with one raised brow.
again, she's taking her time. She lights a cigarette. She looks over her shoulder as if she's going, "Oh, oh, you're there." Like, she's playing it as cool as possible. Um, and she turns around and starts walking towards Juno. What, you couldn't wait inside for me? Do you like dumpsters?
People in there, it's stuffy. Air conditioning's not working tonight. It's hotter in there than it is out here. And I don't much care for the smell of body odor.
Guess I don't really feel the heat anymore.
I guess you don't feel a lot of things anymore, I'd imagine.
Guess chooses not to answer that question. She sort of looks away, shrugs, and well,
So, you called me out here. Against my better judgment, I came to see what was going on. Here I am.
yeah, against my better judgment, I keep calling you, don't I? She fishes her um fishes in her pocket for a minute and then hands you over a USB stick.
Juno will look at it as she takes it out of Ghost's hands, flip it over a few times, and then look up to Ghost. What exactly is this?
It's a video of some vampires causing all that havoc yesterday on the university campus. Maybe you heard about it.
It come up to my attention this morning. I really haven't had the time to look into it.
Apparently they killed some people, set some cars on fire, blew some stuff up.
Hmm. Any particular reason why these individuals are acting like this?
it's the types of vampire that they are. They like to cause chaos. They don't give a crap about human life. They think of it like a game, as far as I can tell. In the video, they're dressed up like cowboys and Indians.
Huh. More Ventrue?
I don't know. I don't really know
And
anything about these individuals.
Juno uses the word because she heard the two speak about Ventrue, and she has no idea what that means, but it seemed that there was a small bit of disdain when her and Lemmy spoke about Ventrue. So are these affiliated with you in any way?
Oh no, they're our enemies.
Enemies,
I
huh?
want them as much dead as much as you do.
And why would that be? What are they all about? As opposed to your kind, which go around and come to bars and speak to people they call hunters.
Mm. They like to. They don't consider human life. They think that vampires are the ruling force in the world and that they shouldn't be kept secret. They think that vampires should be out in the open and then control the world, enslaving the human race.
Juno's gonna just kind
Where,
of quirk her brows. It sounds a bit far-fetched, but she has nothing to go on, but she's just gonna look at Ghost. Really? World domination?
yeah,
No
pretty
regard
much.
for any secrecy. They just want to let it all hang out.
They wanna be out in the open. They wanna cause as much chaos as possible. They like to cause chaos. They like to hurt people.
I'm gonna roll a
They enjoy it.
perception and empathy on that.
Okay.
One success. You gonna counter roll?
No.
So is Ghost telling the whole truth, or is that just how she views?
Yeah, I mean, she believes in what she's saying,
Okay.
and she's genuinely passionate about it. She's quite angry when she talks about it. She seems slightly angry.
Juno takes a deep breath and rubs her forehead as she just pretty much moves to be shoulder to shoulder with Ghost and leans against the building. So, this affiliation of vampires, they want to rule the world, enslave all of mankind. Why aren't they just going out and doing it?
Because they're. I don't know a great deal about them as such, but from what I do know, they're also kind of religious as well. They believe that like the original vampire will come back or something. They call it the resurrection of Christ.
Hmm.
And they're waiting for that to happen before they take over the world. It's never gonna fucking happen. I would tell you that.
Vampire Mormons?
Yeah.
That's actually somewhat terrifying. Juno rubs the back of her head and looks at Ghost. If I need to make a distinction between your kind and their kind, what do I call them? What do I call you?
Hmm.
And Juno's not trying to hide the fact that she is literally prying for this information at this point.
I don't know whether I want to give her the information.
Juno just lowers her head for a minute.
Okay, carry on.
At some point, someone's going to come looking for you. Someone's not going to be of a mindset that you can be useful. Eventually, you're going to run across somebody who knows what you are, that doesn't care that you're willing to talk or willing to protect or anything like that. And I'm not saying that won't ever be me. But if I were to go out and find other individuals like me, other people that want to see the people of the city protected, I'm going to need something to go on. I gave you a huge sign of trust the other night when I let you bite my neck, didn't I?
Yes.
Something of a two-way street there, isn't it, Ghost?
The truth of it is, it's very hard to tell between my faction and their faction. You can't tell by looking at them or
I can tell by actions.
their actions, their political views, more or less. But that's something you won't know unless you get to know them. And I don't think you're ever going to be close enough to them to find out. I mean, you're already too close to me.
I was just going to kind of smirk as she leans against Ghost at that point. Yeah, and look how well it's working out for you.
I'm going to roll to try and hide my reaction to that. It's like subterfuge, I suppose.
Manipulation, subterfuge, yeah. Easy enough.
One success.
I'm going to try and roll against it. And
Okay.
spend a willpower point. One success, defender wins. So I'm guessing Ghost reacts.
She seems like she wants. Like, so you can tell what she's thinking. Well, she can.
You can just kind of read body language. It would be like if you kind of sauntered up to somebody and you thought that maybe they were sending them signals, and the second you put your hand on their knee or something like that, they might have just very subtly recoiled. It's something tantamount to that. It's essentially reading somebody's tells, like at a poker table.
You can tell that when you lean against her, she softens a little bit, like her shoulders drop as if she's relaxing somewhat. She's comfortable with you in her personal space, but she's trying to act like she isn't. She's trying to give the impression that.
So it comes across as forced when she tries to kind of recoil.
She doesn't recoil. She just she tries to stiffen her body language. She notices that she drops her shoulders and then she tries to sort of straighten it again.
Juno just kind of smirks and kind of elbows Ghost a bit in the arm. Look, I'm not going to say that eventually it's going to come down to me killing someone that you might know, might be fond of. It's what I do. But information of knowing the difference between your faction and this other faction of religious zealots might also mean the difference between someone that you like, someone that you care about, dying and not dying. If your kind can even actually die.
Yeah. Well, the vampires that are associated with me call themselves the Camarilla.
Alright, and what about the Mormons?
The Sabbat.
Hmm.
There are other factions as well, but we won't get into that. They're not really relevant in this discussion.
Fair enough. So your Sabbath, they don't
Sabbat.
Sabbat. They don't care about collateral damage then?
No. I mean, I don't really know in depth about their standpoints or their policies. I don't. You tend to end up being one or the other. Sometimes people defect and go to the other side, but as a general rule, it's not something you're born into. It's a choice. Choosing sides in a war. All vampires are essentially the same. They're not any different from us physically. Just their viewpoints, their standpoints, their sliding scale of morality.
And what's a Ventrue? Then another faction?
A type of vampire.
Guessing not yours.
No. I mean,
Then
you've seen vampire movies, right?
Some, I guess.
I'm not going to tell you exactly what vampires can do, but I'm sure you'll find out in your own right that different vampires have different abilities. Things they're better at than others.
Alright. I'll take a look at this. Maybe I can pinpoint a few targets on this thing and do what I do.
Alright. Just don't engage them. Any of them. By yourself. These guys go toe to toe with some of the stronger vampires that I know.
I'm tough, I'm not stupid.
I know. But
I know I'm pretty good in one small burst. After that, I'm usually no better than anyone else who's trained a good portion of their life to be a combatant.
by the way, do you know someone that calls himself the Rev?
Gina just kind of frowns and shakes her head. No. And you don't need to roll for perception and empathy. That's her being fairly true. I mean, extremely truthful, actually. I knew a reverend when I was a kid. Reverend Pruitt. He was a Methodist church preacher. He passed away about 6 years ago. But we always called him Reverend Pruitt.
There's a guy. Apparently, there was a guy following around some of my friends last night with a sniper rifle.
I would certainly like to have me one of those.
He wasn't one of us. That's all we know.
I really don't know what to tell you. I've met your kind. I've met things that like to call themselves angels or fallen or demons. I'm not really sure.
There's all sorts of weird and funky things in the world.
There really are. At least your
You get
kind, I
used to it.
can. Yeah, your kind, I've kind of got a good idea of what it is you're about. Survival, food, power. Almost not too different from humanity, really, in all honesty. You just have to seem, or you seem to have a more vicious side to you than the average person, and you have a little bit more ability to follow through with it, I've noticed.
Oh, you haven't seen me on a bad day.
You haven't seen me on a bad day.
Last night I nearly got my chest cleaved in half, so that was a pretty bad evening.
Juno's gonna very abruptly turn and stand in front of Ghost and just, if she's wearing that motorcycle jacket, she's actually gonna grab at the zipper and zip it down about 4 or 5 inches just to look. That is if Ghost doesn't try and stop her.
No, she isn't. She, there's nothing there. Her skin looks perfectly intact.
You look fine to me.
Yeah, we heal quickly.
Hmm.
You know what I did to your neck? We can do that to
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. Just seals over like nothing was there.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, and she sort of reaches to fiddle with her jacket a little bit, as if she's feeling a little bit exposed.
Alright. Juno, at this point, she just kind of slides the flash drive into her pocket, and she very gently just places some fingers on Ghost's collarbone, and she's gonna roll for manipulation and subterfuge.
Okay.
It's good to see you again. And she's actually gonna lean in for a kiss at that point, lay it on as thick as possible. And that is manipulation and subterfuge. And I better spend a willpower point, just to be safe. So that's 2, 4, 7 dice, standard diff.
Okay.
And spending a willpower point. 1, 2, 3 successes.
Okay.
And you can roll a perception.
So that's just to
That's just to make it seem
make it seem convincing.
convincing, yeah.
Yeah. Don't ignore that. I'm pressing the button. Stupid dice stream. Perception, empathy.
Perception empathy.
I'm rolling 3 dice.
You can match mine.
Nope.
Alright, so as far as Ghost is concerned, Juno seems to be very much into Ghost.
Okay. Ghost scoops her arm around Juno's waist and returns the kiss, giving her a little bit of a hint of how physically strong she is without actually doing her any damage.
Juno will make kind of a small noise at that with a kind of a surprised sound, but not break away, but her eyes go wide for just a second. as she kind of feels herself being lifted slightly. But she finishes it off before kind of pulling away and resting her forehead against Ghost. I'll be seeing you.
You can see the outline of Ghost's fangs coming down, starting to appear. Yeah, see you. And she lets her go.
Juno's just gonna kind of stop there, and she just, again, kind of leans up to Ghost and just kind of leans her neck to one side. She's gonna have to roll willpower for this. To see if she can actually roll willpower to see if she doesn't freak out when she gets bit again. Just she's gonna offer her neck out. So let's hope.
I actually don't remember ever that being. I thought you were right. When I used to run, Hunt of the Reckoning, it used to be, you know, when we were talking about like when you've got Zeal up or you know Second Sight, then you're not immune to it because you're in like a combat situation.
Yeah, it's just what the ST wants on this side. So
fair enough.
We'll just roll with it for now. Bring it up again later.
Yeah.
And Juno's just fine. That's no matter what the difficulty is, there's successes there. So yeah, she just kind of leans up and exposes her neck to Ghost as she saw the fangs coming down.
Ghost leans in as if she's going to bite her, and then flicks her eyes upwards and says, "Perhaps next time. Hopefully I'll be seeing more of you then." She grins with the fangs exposed.
Juno's just gonna kind of smirk and pat Ghost on the cheek once and reach into her pocket and pull out a pack of Oreos that she had. There's a good vampire. Have a biscuit, she says in a clearly facetious tone as she hands over one of the cookies. And she's got this big smirk on her face like, yeah, I'm being a smartass right now.
Is she holding her hand out?
Yeah, she's literally got the cookies in hand. She's probably at this point taking the other hand to take one of the cookies left in the package to actually eat it herself.
I'm gonna grab her wrist and pull her into a grapple. So I'm gonna do a grapple check.
Alright. Be interesting. Dex Brawl.
Oh wait, I have Dex 5 now, effectively. Never mind.
Alright, so what does she do?
She pulls Juno into her and she's not squeezing, she's not trying to do her any physical harm. She just grabs onto her and then takes with her hand, because like she pulled her in so that her hand's sort of trapped. And she leans down and takes the cookie with her mouth out of her hand. And then lets her go.
Juno has that cocky, defiant eye the entire time as it goes on, and there is a slight hint of danger in her eye, whether it's she's slightly apprehensive or she's slightly she can be apprehensive either A, she's slightly frightened or slightly excited in the fact that, you know, ship might go down. But either way, she just remains with that cocksure smile on her face before Ghost lets it go. And she just, again...
I'm gonna spend a willpower to keep the cookie down for a bit, because why not? I haven't had a cookie in a long time.
Alright.
So she eats the cookie.
Gina just smirks. And she just winks at Ghost before walking off in the opposite direction of where she needs to go. Always making Juno late now.
Ghost gets on her motorcycle and drives to do her boring meeting with her dusky friends. And scene ends.